Hello everyone, I am Bets Golden. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time visiting, I'm glad that you made your way here and I hope that you enjoy this. And if you're returning, y'all know I love you. So thank you so much for coming back. Okay, so today I wanted to do a video on basically how to hold a stencil on your gel press plate while you are using your stencil, and you don't have to use like pixie dust or anything, or pixie spray, excuse me, and how this just works perfect. But I got a little bit ahead of myself and I pulled out 10 stencils. I couldn't decide which ones I wanted, my gel press, and then I went ahead. This is supposed to be my easy video of the week. Went ahead and pulled out literally 30 different types of mediums to use. So I'm just gonna bust through this today with you. It's more of a play session. The whole premise of it, my whole thought was to show you how to use a stencil on a gel press to hold it down. But I'm also going to create literally the background on it and then flip it over and do the stencil on it. And we're just going to go through a couple different types of paints and sprays. I'm even going to use some modeling paste or it's called paper glaze. And then there's something called stencil butter. I'm just going to go through so much stuff, you guys. So hopefully it'll give you some good ideas of what you can use on the gel press, some good color combos that you can use, and how you can incorporate just making fun backgrounds with stencils in a little bit of a different way. So we'll see where this takes us. I hope you're up for the adventure. Right now, let's just get into it. I will have as much of this linked down below as possible. Like, for example, the Christy Taylor paints that I'm going to be using, the Christy Taylor creations. I can't link these individually because she doesn't have her, it's not set up like that. And so I will link to her store. I also will link to the Ranger store, although I think most of this I can find direct links to, but if I can't, I'm gonna link things. I don't know if I'll be able to find like direct links to this kind of spray. I'll see as I go, but oh my God, we are going to just have some fun and just create. So this right here is actually a really great gel press. It is gel press got together with Dylusions and Dina Wakley, which is part of Ranger, and it is the gel printing plate. And this bad boy measures 9 by 11, which is perfect for creating your 8.5 by 11 regular copy sheet papers that you see me create on. Everything I'm creating on today, though, however, is actually white Nina cardstock. And the reason is because when I pull this out and cut these down, I thought I was going to use ink. And as it turns out, I'm using no ink. But I want to use this as my card background bases. So I'm just going to stick with it. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay out some color, and we'll just start with this stencil right here, and we're just going to go wild to start with. I'm going to put down some of this paper glaze by Picket Fence. This is Daffodil Yellow, along with the stencil butter by TCW, which is this really pretty color. And I'm not going to even try to attempt to say the name because if you know me, you know that I will butcher it. So that's just an easy way to get your background done for your stencil, but both sides of these is super duper pretty. While this dries, I am going to clean up my gel press just to kind of show you how, and all you need for this is just a little bit of hand sanitizer Normally I don't like to clean my gel press, but since we're going to be going from color family to mediums, I'm going to. Then you're just going to take your baby wipe and just pick up that color. Okay, so the trick to making this work is you have to make sure that your gel press is the biggest thing. That's the first thing. And I know that that may seem, you know, obvious, but you have to make sure that it can hold everything and secure everything. Then what you need to do is your substrate needs to be smaller than your stencil, because your stencil is what is going to hold everything down. So as you can see, it's already starting to hold it all down. I'm going to move this down just a little bit, like so, on the bottom there. And, you know, I could even go that way if I wanted to. I think I will. I think I like it better that direction. And then just make sure you can see where it's sealing up along the edges. So now that is all held down in place. So from here, I'm going to take my stencil color that I want to use, which is this lime green, and I'm just going to apply it. And voila, it held my stencil down beautifully. This area right here where there's some of that bleed through is my fault because I was not being respectful of following where the stencil was going, and I rammed it up underneath of the stencil, which is totally on me. So be mindful of that, learn from my mistake here, and just make sure that you follow the lines of the stencil and you don't try to go in the opposite direction. But look how pretty that background is made with the paper glaze and by Picket Fences and the stencil butter by TCW. So the next one we're going to do, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use paper glaze again, as well as the stencil butter by TCW. I'm going to use this paper glaze in the Marigold Orange and the Crimson Stencil Butter. And then to top it off with the stencil, I'm going to run the Black Pansy by the paper glaze over it. The stencil that I'm using is by Joggles. For this next one, I want to use a little bit of a bigger stencil. This one right here, it is by Stencil Girls. I think it is so cool. But I want to use a paint on this. And after this next one, we're going to be doing some misting. And the colors that I wanted to use are these by Christy Taylor. And I'm using a blue, a green, and a yellow. This turned out way better than what I anticipated because it picked up some of that fun leftover color from my last pull, as well as the stencil in like the ghost image of the stencil. So this is going to be really cool. And it's practically dry, so I can just turn it on over here like so. Take my stencil, and this literally is the exact same size almost of my gel press. And I'm just going to press this down. And this stencil is a little bit, I think it's a little bit thinner than the other stencils I was using. So I'm going to be able to roll the color out on this. All right, that is a very cool background. A little bit unexpected, but I absolutely love it. It is so cool. Now, I want to let you know that for this, it's better if you're using that liquidy type paint on top of a stencil, the way that I did it, to definitely pull out a dabber. And the dabber definitely works a lot better. Not a lot of bleed through either. And since this is a chalk-like kind of paint, it does dry relatively quickly. All right, next up, we're going to try some mists, and we're going to do the Distress Oxide sprays. I haven't used these in a while. I love them. And I'm actually not going to be using the gel press to mist on and then go ahead and create the background. I'm just going to use the gel press to hold the paper in place so that I can mist on it. And then I'm just going to pop a stencil on and do the darker color. So I'm going to be using Spice Marmalade Crackling Campfire. This is the newest color. It is so beautiful. Make sure you give it a really, really nice shake. And then the other one I'm going to be using is Mustard Seed. And I'm going to be doing the same technique for the next, probably 3 or 4 backgrounds. Same basic principle. This time I'm going to be use it with this Aloe. It is a spray dye ink. I haven't used these in a while. That's why I'm pulling them out. I got them when I was on the design team for Rita Bearcat, and they're really great, but I haven't used them in like I said, forever. So I thought it'd be fun to try it. And the colors that I'm using from this are, I can't say it, it's a yellow. And this is like a pink. And then I'm going to be misting over with this beautiful blue. This is by a Colorful Life Design. Voila, so pretty. A little bit of a softer color. Another pretty fun little subtle background. Same effects as the Aloe spray, I think. Similar effects on that one as well. I'm going to be doing our last one with the sprays, and then so this next one will be done with sprays. We're going to be using the Glossy Accent Sprays by Dina Wakley, and we're going to be doing Apricot, Aloe, and Heather. If you know me, you know that this is not my color scheme at all, but it sure did turn out beautiful. Nice, subtle, gorgeous image here. And this is also a Dina Wakley stencil. Really like how that one turned out with those soft, pretty colors, almost kind of pastel-y. I'm going to use those same colors again, only we're going to transition back into the paint. So these last three are going to be done with paint, and I'm going to use the same colors that I used with the glossy sprays: Apricot, Aloe, and Heather. Really lovely subtle background, and I actually can still see a distinction between the apricot and the aloe. When you go ahead and blend the colors together like that, sometimes you lose them and they get muddied. But if you go in a way like going this way, this way, this way, this way, where you're rotating it like so, you usually will end up with a pretty fun coverage. Once again, I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to actually do the pouncing again. I'm just going to put my heather up here and I'm going to just dip and just pounce all throughout this stencil. My sponge is a little bit wet and it is messing with I want to say consistency, but I think it's the more of like, it's making it a little bit more runny. So we'll see how that does on this stencil. Oh my gosh. That is so pretty. I just love it. Even with that residual blue that was on my sponge, that's just so pretty. Really pretty, subtle, softer colors than what I'm used to, but I love it. All right, now we're gonna play with some Dylusions and paint. This is a really runny paint, and this isn't, I'm gonna be upfront, this is not my very favorite paint to play with on a gel press. However, I wanted to try it for this technique just to see. I thought it would be a nice round, about like a nice overall comparison of a lot of different mediums, and I don't think that I could do that without the Dylusions paint. Excuse my hands. This is impossible to do without getting messy. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and pop this color down first, which is Cherry Pie, and then I'm going to use Blue Hawaiian, and then finally the Laid Back Lilac. And since I am using a purple, it's important that I stay with my blue and my red, or else I will get really ugly colors. And I'm going to go back through with some of the blue. And it gave just a touch, not much, but that's okay. This is a Brutus and Rose stencil. I absolutely adore it. And this time, I'm just going to use my baby wipe and try to apply it like that. Definitely not my favorite background that I've done today, but I will be able to use it somehow in my art. Last but not least, we are going to use some lemon zest, pink flamingo, and pure sunshine. And you may be asking why I'm doing Dylusions again, since I didn't like that last pull or the stencil, just because honestly I couldn't decide between doing a purple typey ending or bright color. I really wanted to use all 6 of these colors, so I don't really have any other reason. Plus I wanted to use my chevron stencil. Ooh. Ooh, I like that one. That one turned out awesome. Oh my gosh. How freaking great is that? I want to circle back around as we finish up this video on this one right here. And this is the Distress Oxide that I did. And it has a chalky finish. If you do not want your Distress Oxides to have a chalky finish, all you need to do is take some of this Distress Glaze. And I'm actually going to dip my sponge in here. Usually I dip my fingers, but they're super dirty. So if you do use your fingers, you just want to make sure that they are clean because you don't want to grow any bacteria in there. But your sponge fits well. I don't like to use my sponge on this all the time because it is a rather expensive little bottle and the sponge really does grab a lot of it. And then you're just going to take it and you're going to cover it in this Distress Glaze, and it's going to bring back that luster and that shine. So it's going to take away that chalk look to it, and it's going to leave it with the beautiful, shiny, vibrant color. So that's all I'm doing. And then once you get it on in there, you're going to take a paper towel or a clean finger, and you're just going to wipe it away. So, and this also makes it waterproof. So if you want to seal your Distress inks or anything that moves, if you cover it with Distress Glaze, you will get that as well. So it's a really great, this little bottle is a really great thing to have in your stash. Okay, you guys, I know that this was a longer video. Well, I think it is. I haven't edited it yet. I know this is a longer video, but I really wanted to just play with this and show you guys how you can use your gel press for more than just gel pressing. You can use it to hold your stencils. It can hold paper in place where you spray. Really great medium. Great, I should say it's a great tool, and you can use lots of mediums on it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments down below, please leave them down below. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you know when I have another one coming out. If you want to see how these backgrounds finished up, go ahead and check out my Instagram account because I will be posting the cards in which I create with them over there, as well as doing something with this ugly junker page that I have been using for a couple different pulls right now. I've been using this to clean off my brayer. I'm going to show you what you can actually do with this. Yes, you can create art with this, and it is awesome, and it will be on your wall worthy type of thing where you could actually make this into something for your wall. You're going to be amazed. So go over to my Instagram account to check that out. That will be an IGTV video, I'm just Bets Golden over there. Alrighty, until next time, happy crafting.